It's the kind of headline that shakes the political world like a 9.0 earthquake. Ford and Nissan bet everything on Mexican talent, defying Trump's threats and rewriting the future of the global auto industry. In a stunning twist that has left Washington's protectionists reeling, two of the biggest automotive giants have just sent a message louder than any campaign speech or White House press briefing. The future of cars is being built south of the border, not in America. And it's not just a whisper of possibility, it's a fact grounded in billion-dollar investments, cutting-edge technology, and a bold vision that could change global trade forever. For decades, U.S. politicians have promised to bring manufacturing back home to make America the automotive powerhouse it once was. But in 2025, as Donald Trump doubles down on threats of massive tariffs on vehicles made abroad, something remarkable is happening. The world's most advanced electric cars, the very symbol of tomorrow's mobility, are rolling off assembly lines in Mexico. Let that sink in. While nationalist rhetoric floods social media and dominates the airwaves while chants of America First echo through rallies, Ford and Nissan are quietly turning Mexico into a nerve center of innovation, efficiency, and unstoppable growth. Industry insiders are calling it the silent revolution, and for good reason. As Trump's administration prepares new rounds of economic shockwaves, with talk of 30% tariffs on imports, including cars built just across the border, speculation exploded. Would the auto giants pull out of Mexico? Would factories close, leaving tens of thousands jobless? Would the supply chain collapse like a house of cards? The answer came like a thunderclap from José Sosi, president of the Mexican Automotive Industry Association. There is no sign Ford or Nissan are leaving Mexico. In fact, he added the companies are more committed than ever, betting big on a country that has quietly climbed to the fourth largest vehicle exporter and seventh global producer, a muscle too powerful to ignore. But what's driving this seismic shift? It's not just cheaper labor or proximity to the U.S. market. It's technology, it's vision, it's strategy. Take Nissan, for example. Decades ago, the Japanese giant took a bold gamble setting up advanced manufacturing in Aguascalientes. Today, that plant is not just producing cars, it's pioneering the electrification and automation of entire vehicle lines. In 2023 alone, Nissan poured millions into tech training and new electric assembly lines, securing Mexico's role in its global future. Ford's story is just as explosive. The American icon has invested over $1 billion in Hermosillo and Cuautitlan, turning Mexican plants into powerhouses of electric mobility. The Mustang Mach-E, one of Ford's crown jewels in the EV race, is not being crafted in Detroit or Chicago. It's made in Mexico and shipped worldwide, including right back to U.S. showrooms. That's not just production, that's a strategic earthquake, shaking old notions of national manufacturing pride. This isn't just about where cars are assembled, it's about where the future is engineered. Mexico has quietly transformed into a high-tech hub for software development, robotics, artificial intelligence, and clean energy, all essential pillars for building smart electric vehicles that will dominate tomorrow's roads. Universities and technical institutes from Nuevo León to Querétaro are producing a new generation of engineers and technicians specialized in automotive 4.0 innovation. Ford and Nissan see this clearly. While political speeches in Washington cling to old manufacturing dreams, Mexico is writing the next chapter of the auto revolution. Imagine the chaos if Trump's new tariffs actually hit higher car prices for American families, broken supply chains for U.S. dealers, and a self-inflicted wound to an industry already struggling to adapt. Even top analysts warn that slapping massive tariffs on Mexican-built cars would backfire, spectacularly hurting U.S. automakers as much as foreign rivals. Why? Because today's auto industry is no longer a single-country operation. It's a global integrated machine, and Mexico is now one of its most vital gears. The numbers tell a brutal truth. Nearly 1 million people work directly or indirectly in Mexico's auto sector. They're not just bolting parts together, they're coding software for autonomous driving testing, next-gen battery systems, and refining logistics networks that make car exports to Europe and Asia faster and cheaper than ever. Pulling out would mean ripping apart a supply chain so sophisticated it keeps American showrooms stocked and global markets fed. And yet, despite these facts, U.S. political rhetoric keeps pushing for a mythical return of jobs that in reality cannot survive without Mexico's technological backbone. But here's the real shocker. While Washington argues over tariffs and threats, Mexico is building infrastructure to dominate the electric car era. From the interoceanic corridor of Tehuantepec to the expansion of Lázaro Cárdenas port, strategic investments are supercharging export routes and clean energy supply for EV plants. It's a silent war for the future of mobility, and Mexico is winning without firing a shot. The old model, centralizing production in the U.S., is dead. The new paradigm is regional integration, efficiency, and innovation. Ford and Nissan understand this, which is why they're not retreating, but doubling down. The fear-mongering about companies fleeing Mexico is nothing more than political noise. On the ground, engineers, technicians, and logistics specialists are ramping up production, signing new contracts, and planning fresh electric models. This is not rhetoric, it's reality, measured in billions of dollars invested and hundreds of thousands of jobs created. And here's where it gets even more politically explosive. If Trump's nationalist trade war escalates, it won't stop Mexico's rise. Instead, experts predict it could speed up the country's transformation into the epicenter of North American electric vehicle manufacturing as companies bypass political turmoil by reinforcing operations south of the border. The dream of making America the global auto workshop may already have crossed the border, and it may never come back. What's truly astonishing is how seamlessly Mexico has adapted to this tectonic shift, while U.S. politicians cling to nostalgia. The auto industry of the past was about heavy steel roaring engines and sprawling Detroit assembly lines. The auto industry of today is about smart chips, AI-driven sensors, lithium battery innovation, and lightning-fast regional supply chains. Mexico has embraced this transformation, turning potential threats into opportunities. It's no longer just a place where cars are assembled cheaply. It's a laboratory where the mobility of the 21st century is engineered and perfected. And the data is overwhelming. Mexico exports millions of vehicles annually, feeding not only the U.S. market, but Europe and Asia as well. To dismantle such an efficient ecosystem with punitive tariffs would be like setting fire to your own house to keep your neighbor warm, utterly self-destructive. Even conservative trade analysts admit this reality, though quietly away from the headlines. They know that without Mexican production, the U.S. automotive market would face shortages, skyrocketing prices, and lost competitiveness on the global stage. But beyond the economics, there's a deeper story that electrifies this narrative talent. The rise of Mexico's auto industry isn't just about factories and machines, it's about people. Skilled engineers who design EV platforms rivaling Tesla's, programmers who create advanced driver assistance systems, technicians who manage robotics-driven assembly lines with precision. Ford and Nissan didn't outsource to Mexico. They discovered a talent goldmine, a workforce capable of driving innovation that many thought only Silicon Valley or Tokyo could achieve. This is why the notion of retreating is not just unlikely, it's impossible. Once you build a knowledge-based ecosystem this robust, you don't abandon it for political theater. But there's another twist that will send shockwaves through Washington. Mexico's clean energy push. While U.S. debates over fossil fuels rage on, Mexico is quietly investing in renewable energy corridors specifically designed to power electric vehicle plants. Solar farms in the North, wind projects in Oaxaca, and upgraded grids are ensuring that the EVs rolling out of Mexican factories aren't just cheaper, they're greener. This alignment with global environmental goals makes Mexico even more attractive to international automakers seeking sustainable supply chains. In short, Mexico isn't just participating in the EV revolution, it's positioning itself to lead it. So where does that leave the political firestorm in the U.S.? The uncomfortable truth is that nationalist trade policies can't turn back the clock. They can't dismantle a cross-border industry that's already evolved past 20th-century manufacturing models. They can't wish away the billions already invested, the jobs already created, the future already designed. Instead, tariffs risk isolating the U.S., while Mexico, with partners like Ford and Nissan, accelerates into a new era of dominance. The question now isn't whether Mexico will remain a cornerstone of the global auto industry, it's how long American politicians can deny that the heart of the automotive future may no longer beat in Detroit, but in Hermosillo, Aguascalientes, and beyond. And this brings us to the most controversial truth of all, one that rattles both political parties and the powerful unions clinging to past promises. Mexico has become indispensable to America's own automotive survival. Without the intricate network of suppliers, the advanced assembly lines, and the highly skilled Mexican workforce, U.S. automakers would face crippling disruptions that no political speech can fix. This is why insiders quietly admit that even if tariffs are imposed, they'll be circumvented or absorbed because shutting down Mexican production would mean economic suicide for Detroit's Big Three and foreign automakers alike. Yet politicians still cling to illusions of reviving a bygone industrial era, selling dreams of Made in America, cars that in reality rely heavily on Mexican parts engineering and assembly expertise. What's unfolding isn't a betrayal of American jobs, it's a regional integration strategy that keeps North America competitive against European and Asian automotive giants. And Mexico, far from being a weak link, has proven to be the strongest chain in this continental alliance. The investments tell the story better than any campaign slogan: Ford's billion-dollar expansion, Nissan's EV technology hubs, new research centers sprouting near Mexico City and Monterrey, all forming a high-tech ecosystem unimaginable a decade ago. Even Elon Musk's Tesla is rumored to be eyeing deeper partnerships south of the border to leverage talent pipelines and cost-effective innovation. While Washington fuels culture wars over tariffs and borders, global markets are rewarding Mexico's pragmatism and foresight. Trade agreements, clean energy infrastructure, and advanced education programs have set the stage for a Mexican auto renaissance that may soon eclipse traditional American dominance. For everyday people, this means that the cars of tomorrow, whether electric SUVs, self-driving sedans, or hyper-efficient hybrids, will likely bear a label that reads, "Crafted in Mexico." Not outsourced, not temporary, but proudly and strategically manufactured, where technological expertise meets global demand. This isn't just a shift in geography. It's a tectonic shift in power, one that rewrites the narrative of who leads and who follows in the automotive world. And yet, despite all evidence, the political rhetoric will only get louder as elections near. Expect more fiery speeches, more threats of trade wars, more promises to bring it all back. But behind the curtain, inside boardrooms and high-tech plants, executives know the truth. There is no going back. The future has already crossed the border and planted its flag firmly in Mexican soil. As this silent revolution accelerates, the question we must all confront is not whether Mexico can sustain its rise, it's whether the United States can adapt fast enough to avoid being left behind in an industry it once dominated. Will America embrace the reality of a regional partnership that fuels innovation and growth? Or will it cling to outdated visions of industrial nationalism while Mexico drives full speed ahead into the electric, AI-powered future of mobility? The debate has just begun, and it's one that could determine not only the fate of automakers, but the very balance of economic power in North America for decades to come.